注意看，日本拳王 KO 了中国大炮马嘉文，赢了比赛的他就像是一只发了疯的大马猴，上蹿下跳夸张庆祝的同时还羞辱意识不清的马嘉文。如此一幕彻底激动了在场的中国观众。在赛后发布会上，日本拳王变得更加暴躁不安，拿起矿泉水瓶就往中国代表方的脑袋上打，这完全就没把中国选手和中国代表方放在眼里。今天给拳迷粉丝们带来一个特别篇，由于今天是国家公祭日87周年，勿忘国耻，铭记历史，吾辈自强，爱我中华，给大家带来一个特别赏心悦目的比赛。这绝对是日本人看了难受，中国人看了开心的一次战斗。嚣张跋扈的日本拳王得知下一位迎战的对手是中国柔术高手马克，于是这家伙在赛前策划了一场赛前发布会。不知道这家伙是有什么毛病，总是喜欢在赛前搞什么发布会或者是见面会，结果到了发布会现场根本就看不到他的身影，只能看到一群蓄势待发的小混混。待中国代表方发言过后，日方代表突然发难，发布会现场瞬间变成了群殴现场。中国柔术高手马克很冷静，并不会因为这家伙的狂妄与无知影响到他在赛场上的表现。话就不多说了，来让我们欣赏一下马克的精彩表现。深蓝色短裤是日本拳王远藤尚景，墨绿色短裤是中国柔术高手马克。在练习柔术之前，马克的专项是拳击。根据不完全统计，中国勇士马克最起码练了10年拳击。面对眼前这位嚣张跋扈且目中去人的远藤尚景，马克内心毫无波澜，表现得很是平静。
Yeah, Shincho has a lot better range here, so he might be able to use that. He's showboating right now in the middle of the ring. He's
很明显，远藤尚景就是一个发了疯的猴子，打架就好好的在擂台上打架，嗷嗷叫是什么意思？无论有没有命中马克，这家伙都会发出嚎叫声。然而情绪稳定、心态沉稳的马克并没有把眼前这个猴子当成人来看，继续稳扎稳打与远藤尚景展开对抗。
Bring it! It's time to throw down. Let's put on a show here in Singapore at Rich Franklin's One Warrior Series.
He's going to put out the running man in a second. But, you know, Mark is not looking so comfortable to be there, but we know he can put a lot of damage out. So, you know, Shincho has to be really, really careful of doing too much showboating. He's called that leg, though, and he's quite happy to...
拿到优势的远藤尚景更是不当人，就站在马克面前晃来晃去不进攻。躺在地上的马克也是十分无奈，只能静静地躺在地上看远藤尚景表演。拿金毛当令箭的远藤尚景还在不断嘲讽马克，看来他对马克的恐怖是一无所知。
No up kick to the head, that is. So Mark might want to try and get up.
Wow, being taunted there, it looked like.
Yes,
Entertainment.
Shinhei Chukchek is a definite highlight reel waiting to happen. He is extremely entertaining, flamboyant, flashy, talking all sorts of trash. But I don't know if Mark can understand him, but either way, he's an entertaining fella.
重新回到站立的马克表现得依然很冷静，根本不会受到远藤尚景所发出的魔法攻击。面对马克所施加的压力，远藤尚景根本无法快速挣脱，唯一能做的就是默默承受着这一切。拳击出身的马克并没有在站立上和他一般见识，而是选择将其带入到地面缠斗。
Holding the guard. Let's see what he can do from this position. Now, you know, Shincho's boxed in the Rio Olympics, which is quite something on his own. But I don't know what his grappling's like. He's controlling the position there by holding the veins and tendons in his left leg. So Mark is just stuck there. This is something I like to do, actually. And I think it's something that fight...
毕竟远藤尚景练习的同样是拳击，为了保证能稳稳地将远藤尚景打废，马克不得不扬长避短，将其带入到地面缠斗。远藤尚景就是典型的小人心理，赛前嚣张跋扈、目中无人、猖獗不已，在比赛当中拿到优势之后，依然是十分狂躁，不把马克当人来看。一旦失去优势，远藤尚景就会像是一个孙子一样，只敢死死搂住马克的脖子拖延时间。然而马克的击负拳一直在持续打出，就算远藤尚景的防守很是坚固，那也很难抵挡住马克的重拳出击。
Active here, if he can start delivering some body shots, I would assume it's very difficult to mount any sort of offense.
But Mark is going to be using all of his energy to control this position because he's been locked up So, you know, Shincho has that...
看来远藤尚景是真的害怕了，此时感觉到害怕已经为时已晚，伤害打在身上才知道害怕，这就是典型的不见棺材不掉泪。赛前有多嚣张，此时此刻远藤尚景就有多狼狈。前面2分钟是因为远藤尚景一直搂着马克的脖子，所以马克一直没有好的进攻机会。此时此刻马克再次掌握了比赛的主动权。
Now in Shincho's guard.
Wow.
He's just trying to avoid the damage. That seems to be where he's just, I mean, but I'm surprised we haven't gotten a stand-up at this point. Mark Alvarado's now he's starting to let go of the ground and pound.
There's some blood.
There is some damage
Someone's
somewhere.
damaged.
马克所打出的每一次重击都很沉重，要不是远藤上井这家伙的脑袋坚硬，恐怕就不是流血这么简单了。此时的马克将所有愤怒都附魔在了拳头上面，一拳、两拳、三拳，彻底打服了远藤上井。
Doing ground and pound.
He was getting, not I wouldn't say lit up on the feet, but definitely Shine had the advantage on the feet. But now on the ground and pound, Shine's got no answer to this ground and pound problem. He has no offense coming back. He's just basically keeping him in closed guard. And when you just wrap your legs around your opponent like that, you're basically just holding them in the same position.
裁判眼看远藤上井就要被打死了，不得不暂停比赛来检查一下远藤上井的伤口。被打服的远藤上井坐在地上开始怀疑人生，他根本就想不到马克竟然这般厉害。
And then after the takedown happened and he was able to get on top, it was pretty much just one-way traffic.
最终，马克用自己的双拳印证了远藤上井是废物的事实。在别人面前，远藤上井或许有话语权，但在马克面前，这家伙永远就只配提鞋。小日本终究会被中国人踩在脚下，肆意践踏。如果满分是100分的话，你会给马克打几分？视频到这就结束了，咱们下期不见不散。